Not only did the Sixers get embarrassed again on national television, but we heard from Joel Embiid and Paul George postgame, and their answers further proved why there is malpractice going on in front of our eyes. So I'm going to tell you what's happening, what I think needs to happen immediately, why I think it has not happened yet, and ultimately why the Sixers are probably in the worst situation you can ever be in. So we'll talk about that, and also Nick Nurse gave one of the most puzzling answers that I've ever heard to a question in a press conference. We'll get into it all, but welcome in to Philly Take with RB. I'm RB. Another day of covering these Sixers as we muscle through the season. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, don't miss any of the coverage. We started off with a picture of the Eastern Conference standings. The Sixers lose last night. They get absolutely wiped off the floor at home by the Celtics. And I said before this game yesterday, if they lose, if they can't even hang with the Celtics, who, by the way, is the team you're probably going to play if you get to the play-in and win that and get to the playoffs, then what's the point? Pointless. Sixers are now tied for the sixth worst record as the Nets lost again. And I'm going to tell you, the next couple of games need to be losses. You know, I hate saying it, but it is the best way moving forward. They play the Nets again next game on Saturday. They play the Chicago Bulls. It's time to hang it up. It is officially done. The Sixers had their big three back last night. 14th game together. They're now 7-7. They can't hang with anybody. They're not formidable. And the big three didn't play defense. They didn't rebound. They didn't do anything. And Boston had their way, shooting 5 million three-pointers. The Sixers were like, 6 for 500? So that's where we're at. It's time to shoot you straight. This team is unbelievable. And we look at tankathon.com. Sixers are now, like I said, number 6 with the Nets again. And if they continue to lose games, they might actually be able to keep that top 6 pick. But, of course, it all comes down to the luck of the draw with the ping pong balls. What do you think? Should they keep trying to actually win games and string together this confidence that they're preaching us? Or should they officially hang it up? I just don't see a point in trying anymore. This team is officially cooked. And before I talk about the main couple of guys that are seeming washed, I need to highlight what Nick Nurse said, because he has also given up, okay? Nick Nurse, think what you want about him. You know, his former championship team with Toronto and coming here and taking a pay cut to come here, you know, having a pretty good season last year despite the adversity, but then, you know, seeming so lost this year. I don't know what to tell you, man, other than this guy has given up. He was asked last night about going to his own defense against the three-point launching Celtics. Like I said, they shoot the most threes in the league. They're a high-volume three-point shooting team, one of the best. And the Sixers were already giving up a ton of threes. Nurse decides to go with his own defense. Here is his answer as to why.
It's the choice you make when you look out there and you see they got a bunch of shooters out there and you say, well, going zone may give up some threes, but you're giving them up anyway in man-to-man, so you think maybe it changes the rhythm. Maybe it, you know, there was only a small stretch where they got threes and missed them, right? And it was successful. And then the last time we went to zone early in the fourth, I think they hit 2 or 3 in a row.
Listen, man, Nick Nurse, whether he's trying to win or not, is just so lost. I mean, this is not what he drew up, not what he pictured. And his answer as to why they went to his own defense is because they were already giving them up anyway in man, so why not try to mess up the rhythm? So let's go to a defensive coverage that's even worse against a three-point shooting team. You know, trapping the ball, leaving them wide open from beyond the arc. It is so obvious that this team has given up. They don't care. They're trying to lose, man. There's no other explanation for it. So Nick Nurse is checked out. And I'll tell you who else is checked out as well. Paul George. Here was a press conference answer from Paul George last night over on the PHLY channel. I haven't watched a press conference in a while, but I wanted to get a feel of how the team was maneuvering through. And the body language is terrible. The way that these guys sound after the game is terrible. And here is what Paul George had to say.
You know, there was a report that came out said after the last game that you've been getting injections or the last 4 or 5 games. Is that true? And how are you feeling?
I'm hanging in there. I'm just trying to give this team everything I have. The report is true. I am taking some sorts of medicines to kind of, I guess, play through pain. But I'm trying to give everything I got.
Did the break help with that?
It did. It did. Definitely. Especially being, soaking salt water. It's good for the body.
Well, I'm glad Paul George can make jokes, after games. I'm glad he's feeling okay. The Sixers season has been a disaster. And, I'm glad he got to soak in the warm weather and the nice salt water and all that. But Paul George is out there just not really giving an F, And speaking of that, here's a video from practice today that I just saw. Joel Embiid and look who it is, Jared McCain. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie at practice. You think these guys aren't mentally checked out? They know what it is. They know the result. Maybe the next drill here should be chasing guys on the three-point line since you apparently have no interest in doing that. There's Lonnie Walker, by the way, new Sixer. I mean, are we serious here? We serious? This team does not care, man. They've all checked out. They don't believe in the mission, and they're probably being instructed to tank at this point. Matter of fact, the starting lineup now is so bad that I'm almost starting to think they're playing Joel Embiid and Paul George because they are so bad. Like maybe that is the new tanking lineup, honestly. So Paul George is hurt. He's checked out. Everybody is hurt. And here is what Joel Embiid had to say about where his health is at, about, how he's playing right now, just everything. It's very mind-boggling. Let's take a listen.
Joe, setting aside being healthy enough just to play, are there specific things that you feel like you can't do or don't trust your knee enough to do right now that you've relied on in the past?
I don't know. I'm sure you can figure it out. The way I was playing a year ago, it's not the way I'm playing right now, and it sucks. But I believe I just probably need, to fix the problem, and then I'll be back at that level. But it's hard to have the trust when you're not yourself. And I'm not as dominant as I was a couple months ago. But that doesn't mean I still can't have a lot of impact on the game.
All right, I've heard enough, man. Joel Embiid, I'll talk about you in 1 second, but why does it sound like everybody on this team just lost Game 7 of the finals? Like, they don't even feel motivated or anything like that. It's insane where the season is going. I feel like one day I'm going to wake up here and the season hasn't even started yet. I feel like we're going to be back in October. Like, this season, you can't even make up the level of incompetency. The thing I'm mad at with Joel Embiid is that he played in the Olympics knowing that his knee was cooked and that he needed additional rest, right? We heard the report a couple weeks ago. Lisa Salter says, yeah, Joel needs a surgery again. He needs additional rest. Now people are questioning, does he even have a meniscus anymore? Who knows? But I do really feel bad for this guy's body, for what he has played through and put his body out there on the line with other teammates, other versions of this team in the past. And now he's just at a point where his body is physically cooked. It is washed. Did you hear what he said? He said, I think I need to address the problem, and then hopefully I'll get back to where I want to go. So this season is essentially gone. It is done, and we don't know if he can even get back to peak Embiid. And I said this back in August and September. The clip lives rent-free in all of our heads. I'll never forget it. On the Run It Back show on FanDuel, the guy came out, Sam Amick, and he said the Sixers consulted with 9 doctors and still gave Joel Embiid an extension. Whoever did that should be gone. I mean, not only has it happened now, but this is going to linger in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why the Sixers are committing malpractice and why they have not said anything yet. They keep telling us this BS. Daryl Morey on a press conference. Oh, if you squint hard enough, we'll win a championship. And Josh Harris says, yeah, we're making a playoff push. That's 5 games in a row that you've lost since you said that. 6 in a row now. This team, you can't fool anybody. And you know why they're not saying it? Why they're still trying to preach a playoff push? Because these contracts, Joel Embiid and Paul George, run through the next 4 to 5 seasons. They are going to sell this product again to us next year, but I don't think anybody's going to accept it. Unless Daryl Morey or whoever else can find a way to fleece a team in the offseason, this team is in trouble and they are committing malpractice. This guy, just as a human being, is hurt. You're still throwing him out there on the floor. He's telling you twice now, I am hurt. I can't run. Last night, he had no care in rebounding. Quentin Grimes was the leading rebounder. This guy didn't even try to jump. He can't move. Paul George can't move. I mean, this is the worst situation you could ever be in. You can't shut them down because then they have no trade value. You're tanking their trade value. And you can't say, hey, we're openly tanking because you can't sell the fan base on another open tank because they already went through it once. And this is where you're at. You never won anything. And then if you keep throwing them out there trying to win, they're not good enough to win. This is the worst situation for an organization ever. It just reeks. You got to clean it up, man. You got to get rid of it. It's unbelievable. And lastly, somebody needs to be questioned on the medical staff. I put this on Twitter yesterday. Tons of engagement, as you can see. So many comments. Everybody's like, oh, well, the Sixers are just old. Oh, well, we already said this 7 years ago. You're late to the party. I've been saying it every year. But ladies and gentlemen, what other team has injuries that can't be healed? When you go to the doctor, or if your grandpop goes to the doctor and he bangs up his elbow a little bit and the doctor says, oh, you're not healable. I mean, what the hell are we talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Gordon now has a wrist issue that can't be fixed. Nick Nurse says he's seen 2 specialists. They don't know what to do. Kyle Lowry has a hip issue that's unhealable. Last year, Robert Covington had an issue, unhealable. Joel Embiid never plays back-to-backs. Paul George hurt 5 million times. Andre Drummond had a toe injury that has been lingering. Everybody is hurt. I know the league has an injury issue right now, but look at a team like last night, the Celtics. When's the last time a guy that they drafted in-house has had a really serious long-term injury? You know, how come their guys are always healthy? They can play together and build chemistry. They played the most games last year, won it all, might win it again. Why? You know, every team is dealing with bad injuries, but there are teams that are primarily healthy. And you look at the Sixers, and for the last, 5, 6, 7 years, every guy gets hurt. Why? It's time to look at that medical staff and overhaul it. Get them out. Get them out. It's time to hit reset. It's unbelievable, man. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Give me all yours down below. What should the Sixers do? What's the best course of action here? Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.